Grand Rising. How are you guys doing? I hope that you guys are having a great Sabbath. Shabbat Shalom. I pray that you are safe and in the will of the Most High Yah. I want to talk to people, melanated people all over the world. We are going through a time of transition, a time unlike any other. Various countries where we reside, those of us of African descent, whether it be in the States, on the continent, in the islands, in Europe, are either going through elections or about to go through elections. And depending on wherever you are located in the world, and I want to speak to the world, all of my people in the world right now, not just in one particular country or region, I need for you to understand that your voice is distinct. The voice of the African is a distinct voice. Excuse me. Our voice is a distinct voice. When we cry out to the Most High Yah, He hears us. Even when we're in rebellion and disobedient. Even when we are what the church calls backslidden. Even when we are just in outright rebellion. Even when we are non-compliant. When we cry out to the Most High Yah, He hears us and He answers us. When we use our voice, and we do have a voice, a distinct, loud, powerful, impactful voice. When we use our voices collectively, it goes forth as a resounding, powerful cry that cannot be ignored for long. Some of us use our voice in prayer and intercession, supplications before the Most High Yah. And He definitely hears us and answers us. Some of us use our voice to change and impact conditions that exist in our humanity. When our human rights are being violated, some of us use our voices, to change those conditions. When those conditions serve to oppress us as a people. When those conditions violate, not civil rights. Civil denotes a sense of civility, getting along with the status quo and the general population in the region. No. Not when our civil rights are violated, but when our human rights, which forgoes and surpasses our civil rights. See, civil rights is I could go to the restaurant and eat at the same table as you. I can use the same bathroom as you. I could work at the same place of employment as you and get treated fairly. Civil rights is I will be treated civilly. I will not be oppressed based upon who I am. Those are civil issues and rights. Which is why when your civil rights are violated, you go to what? Civil court. That's one realm. But there's another realm that's higher than civil. And that's human rights. Human rights denotes our right to have housing, our right to be able to take care of our families. Human rights says we have a right to protest any condition or violations or laws or systems that oppress us as a people. Human rights, rights that every human being on the face of the earth has a right to. Clean water, adequate housing, access to services in an infrastructure that helps promote growth and stability. Those are human rights. And if we glance over the entire globe, over the entire world, and look at the conditions that our people live in collectively as a whole, our human rights have been consistently violated and neglected. We've been bamboozled into believing we don't have any human rights, that we shouldn't fight for our human rights. What human rights? Some people, most of our people, don't even know about human rights. Do you know that the United Nations, that entity that's supposed to be looking out for the well-being and security of the entire world, emphasis on supposed to be, has a human rights, the UN has a human rights council. And that human rights council accepts claims of human rights violations online on their website. And that when they receive those claims from people who feel like their human rights have been violated due to A, B, C, D, E, or F, and they present that proof to the Human Rights Council at the United Nations, the Human Rights Council is supposed to investigate and eradicate those violations of human rights. If necessary, they're supposed to take those violations and the nations accused of violating the human rights of people before the World Court. The World Court is the United Nations Court. It's the Supreme Court. It's above the United States Supreme Court. It's the Supreme Court of the world. Okay? Hence the term World Court. They comprise of judges from a variety of different countries. And it is their job to determine if a nation is in violation, human rights violations of a people. Our voice is powerful, but we need to be collective in our outcry. Once we realize what the violations are against us as a people, our human rights violations, our human rights that have been violated and neglected and rejected and stolen from us throughout centuries and throughout history. Once we learn of those violations, we are supposed to be able to cry out to whichever entity on this earth that's supposed to deal with those issues. Hint, the United Nations Human Rights Council. And they're supposed to do something about it. They're supposed to do something about it. But our voices, when one person screams, no matter how big of a mouth that person has, it's only one person screaming. It's only one person crying out and saying, this is wrong. This is a violation of our human rights. This has to change. This must stop now. As big of a mouth as I have, I'm only one person. But when thousands cry out at the same time, you ever been to a football game and they do the wave, woo, and they raise their arms up and stand up? I don't know if that happens in other countries, but it happens here in the United States. Yes, I'm coming from the United States here. And it's like the most profound, loud, clamorous, impactful thing to hear and see. Because you have hundreds, maybe even thousands of people crying out at the same time. And it does something powerful for the energy that's in that stadium and in that arena. Do you see the impact collective voices have? My people of African descent, all around the world, this is the time to cry out. Whether it be to the Most High Yah, or whether it be to the United Nations Human Rights Council, whether it be to your local, state, regional, or national governments, whether it be to your respective Supreme Courts, whether it be to whomever. This is the time to cry aloud and spare not. This is the time for us to collectively cry out. And I promise you, when you do, things are going to change. Things are going to change. The Most High is waiting for you to cry out. Can't just be one or two voices anymore. Use your voice. And depending on where you are in this world, your vote may be a voice. Here in the States, a vote is not a voice, because the system has become too corrupted. And it's just too corrupted. This government does not care about the plight of its people under a certain income bracket. It is a facade of a democracy. But that's an issue that the Most High is going to deal with this country about. But that does not mean that we of African descent worldwide can't cry out. Still cry out. I promise you, when you cry out, the Most High will move. Remember the walls of Jericho that came tumbling down when they cried out. You guys be blessed. In the name of Yahushua HaMashiach.